It is reported today that tensions are rising between the Great Sioux Nation and the building of the Dakota Access Pipeline. For those of you who don't know, a Texas company is building a Dakota Access Pipeline up in the regions of the Sioux Great Nation.
Get off my lawn.
So recently, the Great Sioux Nation, indigenous people in that area, decided to stand up and say, no, you cannot build this pipeline here.
You're in my house now, bitch!
It was being built on sacred burial ground, and it is being built before the court order was released to allow them to do so. Now, from the company's perspective, this is a cheap way of trying to get it started and trying to get the pipeline completed so the costs don't rise up further.
We've got to have money.
The indigenous people in this area say that it is in complete violation of the rights because it is taking resources away from them and also is being built on important sacred ground that is supposed to be theirs in a reservation. History tells us that the United States has said that the Indian nations are sovereign tribes. They should have their own autonomy and say over what happens on their land, what doesn't happen on their land, but the problem is the United States has a history of violating those treaties over and over again.
America, fuck yeah!
Examples include when they expanded west during the days of Manifest Destiny. It continues today when they build nuclear power plants. I'll get to that later. And this is another example of how the United States seems to allow companies to build oil pipelines in places where there are supposed to be reservations and supposed to be land that is reserved for Native Americans or indigenous people.
That's why I prefer!
In this specific instance, it's starting to get bad. As reported yesterday and continuing today, there have been police reportings of potential pipeline bombs.
But wait!
They reported the bombs, but then said that they mistook it for what indigenous people call Chenapu pipes. Now, if I mispronounced the name, I apologize in advance, but let me get this straight. You mistook a bomb for a call of sending a pipe around that was part of their tribe's ceremonial rituals.
Why the fuck you lying? Why you always lying?
The second thing is that the police started to get a little bit more tough on protesters. Get this, they arrested the protesters for trespassing.
What?
That's literally like someone arresting you for trespassing in your own backyard when you're trying to stop someone who's trespassing against you.
What the fuck?
To make things even worse, this is all happening before a judge released a court order saying that the company had perfect rights to do so. And even if the court releases that statement, there are still two major problems. One, it's obviously against the sovereign autonomy of the Great Sioux Nation, but it is also probably really bad for the environment. Now, I know I'm probably going to get people who are like, oh my god, I can't believe you believe the climate change hoax. Dude. 97% of scientists agree that climate change is real. This is not a matter for debate.
No shit.
The other thing is that the police have now been complaining about protesters vandalizing.
Man, this is some bullshit!
That's really funny because vandalism would seem to be violating people's property that's not your property, but this is happening on their property. And now the last part of this is kind of the really sad part about all of this, and it's that the continuing of taking land away from Native Americans or indigenous people and using it for our own benefit. This has been shown multiple times, especially in nuclear reactors. All the waste gets dumped right on reservations. For example, in the Yucca Mountains, the Navajo tribes have experienced great amounts of cancer rates and death due to these nuclear reactors, and it's time that we recognize that what we have done was we've invaded indigenous people's lands, and we've continued to do so for hundreds of years, killing many, and it's time we give the land back. Or at the very least, stop taking their land.
Oh, won't somebody please think of the children?
I hope you enjoyed this video. Please give it a thumbs up and subscribe. And if you enjoyed the video, please share it with your friends. And I'll see you tomorrow. Now, Donald Trump lied about that.
That's why I prefer!
Not only could Donald Trump not name a specific policy, but he couldn't even tell the story correctly.
But wait!
wait!